Mary Ellen has been registered disabled for 23 years. She used to work as a nurse. Now she relies on her full-time carer Purna, and she's constantly worrying about the future.
Are you hungry?
2 years ago, the government scrapped something called the Independent Living Fund, or ILF, and now her local council is cutting her care payments.
And since the ILF's closed, the council has been working as hard as it possibly can and throwing as much money as it possibly can into trying to cut those hours. The social worker came here and said that they would be increasing my independence by providing me with incontinence pads rather than the care support I need to be able to use the toilet, because then I wouldn't be dependent on someone to help me to go to the toilet.
Having a carer also means Mary Ellen can go out and meet friends and protest for disabled people's rights. 5 years ago, a group of organisations lodged a formal complaint to the United Nations. That led to an in-depth investigation and some damning conclusions. In its report earlier this year, the UN singled out what it called the UK government's failure to recognise the rights of disabled people to live independently in the community. It also highlighted the growing numbers of disabled children being educated in segregated special schools, calling for legislation to make sure mainstream schools provide for them. And it called for urgent action to fight high levels of poverty, which it said were due to multiple welfare reforms and cuts in benefits. The UK government says the UN's failed to reflect the progress it's made in empowering disabled people, including getting them into work. But Roger Lewis, part of a lobby group that helped to get the UN to investigate, says changes in the government's access to work scheme are cutting things like the specialist computer software which allows him to hold down a job despite being blind.
It doesn't cost the country. This is the crazy thing. That the access to work scheme, for every pound they spend on me, the Treasury gets back between £1.40 and £1.70. It's to generate an income for the government. By being in work, I pay national insurance, I'm paying income tax, I'm not on unemployment benefits. It's a net gain, yet this scheme is under attack.
For Mary Ellen, going into a care home would mean an end to her social life and possibly a slide back into the suicidal thoughts she's had in the past. She's determined to do what she can to keep fighting the spending cuts. Nadim, Al Jazeera, London.